Councilor Potier, Councilor Framboise.
Moved by Councilor Potier and seconded by Councilor Laframboise. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby opens the Committee of the Whole meeting at 6 p.m. on March 5, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Atikamekw Anishinaabe. We also wish to recognize our neighboring community of Doki's First Nation. While we meet today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Councilor Loftus, Councilor Lachance.
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Lachance. Be it resolved that the agenda for the Committee of the Whole meeting held March 5, 2025 be adopted as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, Councilor Framboise.
None, your worship.
Councilor Loftus.
None, your worship.
Councilor Potier.
None, your worship.
Councilor Lachance.
None, your worship.
And none for myself. Announcements and inquiries from,
None for myself.
no?
None for myself.
Councilor Potier?
None for myself. And none.
Okay. We'll talk about, again, we're always trying to figure out ways to make it happen faster. So next time, if you have something, just raise your hand, and if only Councilor Lachance has something to add, we'll go right to you. Okay, just in the future. Okay, first report, 6.1 Environmental Services Committee for the landfill topography survey, prepared by Michelle.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah.
So the request is to seek council's approval to commission an updated topographic survey so we can verify the cell contours and placement in relation to the approved design and operations manual for the landfill. So our current or historical survey doesn't outline the georeferencing, and because the information is outdated, it's not going to provide us accurate information moving forward. So the new topographic survey will provide us with the data that we need, and it will also allow us to fulfill our asset retirement obligations.
All right, thank you. Councilor Framboise, comments, questions?
No, so the amount exactly, is it 5,100 added, or is it the 13 that we have to pay?
So the original amount was the 85.
Okay, yeah.
But and then so the topographic survey is the 5,000 on top of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Councilor?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I think we got more than that in return for the scrap metal return, so I think that's pretty good. Yeah, this is something that we're going to need going forward, and hopefully we'll have more accurate geographical referencing and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Councilor Chance?
No, that was it.
All right. Thank you very much. Go ahead with it. Item 6.2, Finance Committee, report to council request for donation fishing tournament. Who prepared this? Was Denny?
Yes, Your Worship. So every year, the top 50 pikes here tournament, the donation is being requested. I think it was by the Seniors Club. They do it as a fundraiser. Every year we're bringing councils over my approval limit of $100, but from last year, the advertising, it became truly advertising and not a donation. And as such, I want council, well, obviously council agrees to approve the advertising for this year. But going forward, that we understand that it's advertising, and as long as we're within the limit, I won't have to come back to council to put advertising in this magazine unless otherwise directed not to do so. So I'm just seeking simplify a council instead of coming every year asking for $225 is basically moving this as a truly advertising, yearly advertising that we do.
Okay.
I'm in agreement with the recommendation.
Okay. Councilor Loftus?
Yes, I'm in agreement with the recommendation also.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. The ad that's displayed on, I guess, page 9 of the agenda, I'm assuming that's like kind of a screenshot or something, or that's a,
It's a photocopy of a hard copy that was handed in, so.
oh, okay.
Yes,
Does it look
I
kinda-
would expect, in the magazine to be true color, and I should probably find last year's copy.
Yeah, it's,
Share with council.
it's a little pixelated too there,
Yes.
so, perfect. I mean, if there's any changes or if we want a quick review, annually, I don't think it's anything for an email, just, hey, this is what's gonna be going to top 50, if there's an issue, or kind of like,
Yeah.
it's as simple as that, yeah.
Okay. So you say you'd like to get a copy before? Is that what you said?
Just a heads up, this is what it's gonna be going in as a ad in the top 50 for a donation type thing, like, yeah, I think that's nice to see, cause, I don't always look at, I'm not always looking at that, right, so,
And
I think that's good for reference, and if there's something we wanna add,
Yeah.
that will be our chance to make any changes or, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Deschamps?
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna mention that the pictures look like they've been used for a long time. Maybe get some more recent pictures of other stuff in the municipality or like
I do have the
community
original
center.
on my desk, and it didn't come out to the scan, so, I'll make sure, and we'll verify that we get a nice, clear, crisp copy, and I can share with the council. I'll try to figure out how to scan it and share it that way, with better quality.
Okay, thank you. All right, so go ahead, you can now use that as advertising. Item 6.2.2, report to council regarding various requests for donations.
Yes, your worship. I grouped these two requests the same because they, not that they are similar, but they're asking, basically, every year they celebrate, Women's, International,
Sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry, I needed my glasses. So the first one, is Women Empowering Women. Chamber of Commerce is celebrating, coming out March 8th. This was, it's due this weekend, but, I'm trying to find the budget amounts here. So the budget amount for the municipality is $1,000, and we just agreed to $225, and the donation budget is $500. The Chamber, Women Empowering Women, Chamber of Commerce, their sponsorship package starts at $500 for basic. It may be too late to do the advertising, but we can still do a donation for that one. So if council wishes to do a donation, I did verify with Treasury, we have not donated to this particular event in the past. And it's an Albin, not that it makes a difference, but it's an Albin. And the other one is the complimentary use of the community center for UNIV to hold their volunteer appreciation night on April 17th. Every 2-3 years we get a request from UNIV, either they hold their International Women's Day event, which is in Warren this year, or their the event to celebrate or recognize their volunteers. I'm suggesting to council, if you agree, because every year I come here and I ask, I get a letter from them, if we add that to the rental, is that they're recognized, those events are recognized, International Day, we will, once every 3 year, allow you complimentary use to the hall, with a few conditions that I would suggest, which is pretty standard. And also, if council is willing, we would also include the volunteer appreciation event. And again, I would time it as one every 3 years, so they don't decide to come to St. Charles every year, or maybe council may wish. So again, it's trying to simplify future approvals, because I've been coming to council with this request for many years now, and maybe it's time to say, let's make the decision, include it into the fees bylaw, where they are exempt, and except with the few conditions required, like proof of insurance, the contract is still prepared, whether we want to do a deposit. UNIV is pretty trustworthy. If they break a couple hundred dishes and what we'll pay, but never know. And again, I'm here for council, if council would be in agreement to to add them to the fees bylaw. And also approve, for this year, approve it because we're pretty close to the event date.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Framboise?
For number one, I'd like to see maybe a donation of, maybe 3 or 6 months, gym access and, like swag. Do we still have like hoodies or t-shirts, St. Charles? No, nothing like that? We have nothing written in St. Charles, like it's spelled in St. Charles,
Oh, the treasurer also informed me the $1,000 for advertising includes the pen. So if council wishes more advertising or swag to give out, it would come out of that particular budget line, so at budget, you may discuss that. Gym access, that's the one, the traditional one we give, and it would probably be appreciated.
So, yeah, so it would be nice if we would have had a hoodie or a shirt or something to add and maybe give a gym access for 3 or 6 months. That's what I think donation is not costing us much, right? In that sense, and if they decide to come, it's on their own, it's their choice. And then number two, I'm in agreement with the complimentary use every 3 years, counting this year, right?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Councilor Loftus?
For the first one, in the past, we haven't done any donations, so I'm gonna say no to that one. And for the second one, I think giving them the hall is fine, but I think that they should pay some kind of fee for cleanup, because that comes out of our tax dollars to have a municipal worker go and clean up the hall, so, I would like to see at least get back the cleaning, like the hall is free, but, have somebody be paid by them to clean the hall afterwards.
Okay. Councilor Patsy?
I'm just wondering so the goal of a donation for the Women Empowering Women event, they wouldn't be raffling, would they be raffling this off? Or is this a donation to the chamber?
I have not talked to how, because basically they were looking for like advertising where they would stick our logo on their banners or on their advertising. If we offer a gym membership, I'm assuming, and it's an assumption, it would be sort of like a door prize, which is standard for those fairs.
Yeah.
So, I would, if council does that, I would offer with the intent of it being a door prize.
Yeah. Right, yeah, I'm in agreement, with that. You know, it's nothing to, I mean, do we go a 6-month, membership? I think that's, yeah.
It's not costing us.
Yeah. And then the NEV for the volunteer appreciation and the Women's Day event, to be held no more than every 3 years. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's, you know, they bring a lot of volunteer events, or not events, but programming to the community. And we do have language in there that if there's excessive cost cleanup, that, you know, or cost to clean up, because they do a pretty good job of cleaning up the facilities after they use them. You know, even after their programming, it's as it was. So.
Yeah, and I can even make the language a bit more if there's any, if we have to wash the floors, we will expect some compensation to the thing. But I think they're pretty clean after their event, and actually wash the floor after it is a supper, so.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things. It's regardless of any event, we almost have to do some kind of a cleanup. So, for the rental of the hall for once every 3 years, I don't think it's too excessive. Yeah.
So cleanup,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's too like it's
It's
once
every 3 years.
It's not like it's anything too crazy.
Okay.
For $100 every 3 years.
Okay.
I know it's not much for them to give us, but it's also it's just
All right.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Councilor Lachance?
Yeah, for the first option, I'm in agreement that a gym membership could be given for a door prize. For the second option, I was just wondering that if we're already giving them the rental, the owner, like, everyone's working with the cleanup and stuff now. If we just did, once every 3 years, took that out of our donation budget for the year, so that 500 for, we have $500 there, so we just took, whatever, say the cleaning was, and that would be our donation. So you include, you can include, every 3 years, you give them, in the rental agreement, the use of the facility. And the donation will be the amount that it is to clean, well, the labor for cleaning, if that makes sense. So, it comes out of our $500 donation budget, so we're not just giving, more than what we already have budgeted, in a sense.
Okay, so donating the cleaning. Is that, because I didn't hear you clearly, sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If we're already talking about letting them use the facilities in kind of,
Yeah.
every 3 years as you want to rate in their rental agreement.
Okay.
That's the facility use, that's not the cleaning of. So the cleaning of can come out of our, donation budget for that year.
Okay.
Um,
All right, so the first item, 6-month membership fee as a door prize, and the second item, free use every 3 years. And I think we can all agree that cleanup out of our own budget. All right. Next item, item 631, council remuneration attendance prepared by Pamela.
Okay, so every year, council remuneration, needs to be made public. So this is all funds that are paid to councilors, or, they benefit from, boards or committees or any conferences that they attend at the cost of the municipality. So this is just a summary. The only thing is to note is, all the committees that board members may attend, they submit, their remuneration to me to put on this, report. And I found out this year that the Sudbury East Planning Board actually pays in February for the previous year. So as per the act, it says funds received in the year. So even though it was for 2024, it actually wasn't paid until 2025. So last year we had reported 2024s in 2024, or we reported 2023 in 2023. But it wasn't actually received until 2024, so it's actually redone in this report. And then the ones that are received in 2025 for 2024 will be in next year's report. So, because I was unaware, because I don't know when you guys are receiving that, it was just because I was clarifying with one of the counselors that did receive it, and they were unaware they got paid. It's because they hadn't got paid yet. So that's how that came about. And then the second part of this report, it was brought to my attention that I haven't been reporting on council absenteeism. On the bylaw, council had requested that we put in that if council were unable to make a meeting, then come back to council for council to decide if the reasoning for being absent is justified, and whether remunerations needs to be docked. So the summary for 2024 is included in here. So just kind of two things going forward. How does council want this reported? Do they want it reported yearly like this? Or do you want the next council meeting after the absenteeism to be brought up in a report, and then a decision is made at that time? Or any other suggestions? So all that information is there. If anybody doesn't agree, or their data doesn't show this thing, we can look at everything. So information's there for council to make a decision.
All right. So you wanted this, it's whether it's a yearly report or if we want to look at it after.
Yeah, so there's two things. There's either decide how you want to do it in the future, and is there any, for 2024, is there anything that council wants to do for any lates or absenteeisms for 2024? We are doing it all in 1 year. Whether you want to do that in the future, or again, like I said, next council meeting is brought up and dealt with right away.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Framboise, your comments.
I like the yearly for myself. For the section A110 states the annual remuneration will be made up of 30% for attending regular scheduled council meeting. So So can you just clarify, so the minimum would be at least 6 meetings in the whole year?
So in the chart, in the second page,
You're right.
21, so the annual remunerations for each member of council.
Mhm.
So I've taken 30%, so 30% is related to council meetings, so 30% of that total remunerations. And then the number of regular scheduled council meetings, because in there, I believe it says based on regular scheduled council meetings. So there's 20, so there's 4 months that we only have one, January, July, August, and December. So if we take that divided by the 20 regular scheduled, that would give you your per meeting cost. So if you miss one meeting and council agrees that it was not a justified absent, for the mayor it'd be a reduction of 303, deputy mayor would be 195,
Gotcha,
and
yeah.
councilor would be 162.
So,
But potentially a decision doesn't have to be made right now on 2024, because maybe the councilors need to go back and, find out, remember why they were absent, because there are reasons, justified reasons to be absent.
Exactly.
So for you to remember, oh, where was I on April 4th, you may not remember right now. So that part maybe doesn't need to be made right now, but if council wants to direct me on how to go forward, so that if next meeting somebody is away, if they do choose to go forward, the next meeting I'm prepared also, or if we're just doing it yearly, fine. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
okay, you're good? Did, anything to add?
No.
So, Councilor Lopez, basically, if I'm getting this correctly, are we wanting a yearly meeting, a yearly report for this information? And can I just speak also is that if it's a yearly report, looking back and let's say I missed 2 meetings, even at the end of the year, I'd be scratching my head because sometimes you don't remember. So maybe we should have something documented in a way, absenteeism, gone on vacation, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, that's,
I think you usually do it.
I usually, through your worship, I usually do get an email from each member when they are going to be available, so now that we know what we're doing, I can make a note on the chart that, you know, work-related or sick or just put it there.
Exactly.
Like, going forward, we can do that, and actually, even for the 2024, I can go back
Yeah.
in my emails and
But we-
we can report on the ones that were missed.
I know that there hasn't been an excessive amount of absentees.
No.
That's something I'm 100% sure. So, Councilor Lopez, any?
Yeah, for myself, like, even every 6 months, if she wants to just throw a little report, just to keep us at, but I mean, everybody's been very, you know, everybody's attending. I just questioned Pam a little while ago because I said October 16th, but that's when I had that virus.
Yeah.
And there was a special meeting before, and I mean, I was coughing up a lung, so obviously the 16th, I missed those meetings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something that I don't miss meetings unless I'm really sick, and I think that if somebody's out at work, you know, providing for their family, you can't blame them.
No.
Like, this is like we're working for the municipality, but your lifeline is your main job, so, I think all the circumstances I would like to see this because it just gives you an idea.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm not judging anybody for missing any time.
No, okay. Councilor Putzi.
Yeah, no, thanks for the report. I mean, it kind of shows all the details and how much the mayor has missed. I don't see any issue with coming back with this every 6 months or every year. 6 months may add a little bit more accountability to it, because it's hard to come back every year and then a year later you're like, all right, how do you tackle, you know, oh, all right, well, you missed 4 meetings in a row, so we're gonna, you know, unfortunately we have to hold back a little bit on remuneration. So it's like after a year, it's a little bit harder to do that.
Yeah.
So I think maybe every 6 months is a good way of going about it. And yeah, I hadn't even realized that that one day, October 16th it was actually 2 meetings, right? It was the, planning board, not planning board, but, yeah, community adjustment meeting, so, yeah, I don't see any issues with, you know, the absenteeism that has occurred, cause from what I remember, everything's all been justified, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Deschamps?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with bringing it up every 6 months either. And, I remember when we put that 70-30% into play when we were first elected, and I still stand by it. I still think it's, something good just to show you got skin in the game, that, people always comment that, oh, you make so much money being a counselor and this, that, and the other. Well, show me that we're working for it, or we're getting at least our attendance in for it, and,
Exactly. Anything to add? Yes.
Yes, through you, Your
Yes.
Worship. So I was just thinking, just going forward, I can just use a different legend, color code those squares, like, instead of a red one for just not being there, it could be, you know, purple if it's at work, or something sick,
Yeah.
you know. Instead of going through and itemizing that, I can just color code them.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay.
the only thing I would say, like, again, like, Counselor Loftus and Funty both kind of touch on it too, like, you know, when it's one day, but there's 2 meetings scheduled for that day, kinda, well, it is what, I don't know, if it'd be, by date, because it is that we try to get that meeting out of the way before the regular meeting, usually a 5:30 start kind of thing. So it's kinda, I don't know where I'm gonna be penalized for it or nothing, it's two for one, so.
Yeah, it is a people. Okay, so, from what I hear, every 6 months would be the proper, would it, did you say, I didn't really hear from you though. Did you say 6 months, Councillor Deschamps?
Yeah, I agree with Councilor Putzi on that.
Okay, and, if we can have the chart, as, Tammy just stated, have it a little bit coded so we were aware. But personally, from what, this council I've seen, everybody is diligent, they show up, and the reasons for absenteeism, has been justified, so I don't see any reason for, deducting anybody, any funds. All right, thank you very much. Next item, procedural bylaw change, in format. Tammy, can you take it away? Page 25.
So in moving forward with the changes to the procedure bylaw and trying to condense our meetings and make them more efficient, I did have a meeting with the mayor. We kind of came up with some sample agendas, moving to a consent agenda to get rid of reading all of the correspondence out, any for your information reports, any minutes, just trying to streamline things a little more and make sure that we all get out of here at a decent time, and that there's enough time for the things that do need discussion to get proper discussion. So, yeah, I just wanted to come to council, get everybody's feedback on what they think of this model before I go ahead and actually change the procedure bylaws. It's a big deal. So if there's questions about any of it, any questions about the consent agenda, the disbursements, we were thinking as far as the reporting on the disbursements, it would go into the consent agenda, but everybody gets their agendas in ample time ahead. If you have questions about a disbursement, it is suggested that those be emailed to the treasurer, then she can come, those responses can go out to all council before the meeting. And what would then happen is, at the next meeting, in the next consent agenda, whatever answers she gave on those disbursements would be put in as an FYI report. Just so that the public is also aware of any items that were questioned. anyway, this is a sample. If anybody has ideas, questions, suggestions, I'm here.
Okay. We'll go through it quickly, but if somebody says, oh no, I wanna revamp it, we'll have to handle that differently there, but,
No, it was just a consent, like she explained it well, so I'm good for that.
okay. Councillor Lopez?
No, I agree with the changes.
Okay, Councillor Pate?
So, we're still going with a single committee of the whole meeting and a single council meeting. I know there was, mention of how others kind of do it, and that they have like almost like a combined meeting, but is it, I think they still do 2 meetings a month. It's just,
They do a,
'Cause-
they do a combined meeting on both meetings.
yeah, exactly, so it can be a lot, but, yeah, I think this works for our municipality. I think still, if ever we feel during some months, like, you know, there's a few months in the year where we probably could afford to go to the dual type meeting, cause having 2 council meetings doesn't move along, like for resolutions and everything doesn't move along, everything a little bit more. So if ever there was a case to be made of, like, you know, February, March, and April, and maybe a few months in the fall of making the 2 meetings, you know, hybrid meetings,
Yeah.
just to keep everything moving as quickly as possible. I think that could be something that's looked at. I don't know if we wanna look at it right now, but, yeah.
Do you wanna take that one?
So I was just thinking, the intent of this is obviously to keep all staff reports on the committee of the whole.
Yeah.
And that the regular meeting is gonna be strictly procedure, like it's slamming out all of the resolutions, the bylaws, anything that's just quick.
Yeah, that's it.
Obviously, there are gonna be times when a report may have to be brought in a regular meeting with, whether it's urgent or, you know, big catastrophes happened and we need something dealt with. It's still gonna be allowed in the format.
Yeah.
But yes, the intent is to try and get all reports done at the beginning, and that when we do have our regular meeting, it's much smaller.
Okay.
But yes, obviously for your, July, August, December, and January meetings, we could look at a hybrid format for those 4 months, cause they are only 1 meeting a month anyway.
Yeah, I think
It-
previously the way we're doing it already was kind of.
If you look on what's the page 28, there is item number 4 on that list. This is the committee, this is the regular meeting, but the staff item 4 is the one that is the add-on for sort of the committee of the whole version.
Yeah.
So it is a hybrid in that, it
In
can
that sense.
become a hybrid
Yeah.
on that meeting.
Okay. Yeah, and other than that, I don't really see, so if there's something, an item in the consent agenda, we just make a motion to, pull it out of the consent agenda, and then we'll discuss it at item 6.
I forgot to add, excuse me, so I did forget to add that with correspondence, the method going forward would be, as I receive correspondence, you're going to get the correspondence via email with 4 options. So it's either gonna be information, support, bring it forward as a report, or,
You have that on here.
I did have that on there, right?
Yeah, page 26.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, so, so information, support resolution, report to the committee of the whole, or respond with a letter. So the report to committee of the whole and responding with a letter, that would put it back, that would automatically put that item to the next committee of the whole.
Okay.
And the 2 other would move it automatically into a consent agenda. And if I don't get any response from anybody, it's automatic for your information.
Information, yeah.
Perfect. And
So unfortunately, you guys are gonna get a lot more emails.
that's okay. And then, well, my question would be to that then is, I assume there would be some kind of formatting of when, like, it'll be moved to, it'll be put in as information for committee of the whole regardless, but is there gonna be some kind of, like, we'll keep some kind of formatting so that we're aware this is a, committee of the whole, like, it's an email, it's correspondence, not just, you know, I don't wanna say, none of, you know, the emails don't matter, but it's, you gotta filter some of those, right?
Right,
Yeah.
so you, on the regular meeting, you can see items coming out of the consent agenda, so if during the meeting you decide to pull something out, it would automatically pull it to the items coming out of the consent agenda. The other matters would go in as a staff report or, yeah,
Committee of the
go in
whole.
as a.
But
staff
I
report.
understand what, it would be clearly marked that it is a document for the
Yeah.
the agenda, yeah. And then with the options of responding, if you want to have one of the options selected, then you'd respond, otherwise it's for information.
Yeah, cause we don't get all the email, like, we're not gonna be getting all the
No, no, no.
emails, or that's not correspondence, like, that to the municipality, that's,
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I will clearly mark
Yeah.
if it's for
Sounds good.
information or if it's a needed response.
Awesome.
very good.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's definitely some good improvements there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to quick, because it's relating to the question.
Yeah.
If, say, one member of council gets a letter that they wish to send, they would have to send the letter to the clerk, and then the clerk would do the process. So if you go to an event and you have a letter you want to include in the correspondence, again, it just, because it was not mentioned, you would send the correspondence to the clerk, and then the clerk would do the process.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Councilor Deschamps?
I don't think, I think it's moving in the right direction, and it's obviously gonna save a lot of reading for one person in those meetings. A little bit more work to do ahead of time, but, make the meetings a bit shorter, so. Maybe we'll have more people attend the meetings if they're a bit shorter, more bearable in person.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks a lot, Tammy, for that work. Item now, 641, report to council, St. Charles minor hockey request for, I think they wanted to have a rebate. This was prepared by Pamela.
Okay, so in the last meeting, in the consent agenda, or in the correspondence, council had requested a report be brought out for this item. So the email or the request from the minor hockey is attached to this report. So they were requesting that we rent the arena to them at the without cleaning fee. So there's 5 options. One is that we reduce the cleaning package rate to the same rate as the no cleaning package. That council reduce it for the minor association only is the second option. Or they can establish a separate rate for minor hockey completely in between those two rates, if they wanna come up with a special rate for them. They can leave it as is, or, what our recommendation is, the director of operations is gonna speak to it operationally, is that we leave it as, the pricing as is, but we actually remove the option to rent the arena without cleaning. So originally, when we came up with the concept, and council had asked for packages so that associations can build packages based on their pricing to allow maybe more donation to be brought to the organization that they're fundraising for, is that the cleaning or the non-cleaning package is we would have one staff available who would be doing the Zamboni, who would be cleaning the entryway because it's a liability, so we would make sure that that was clean. And if there's any issues with the facility, we would be there to take care of it. However, the cleaning of the dressing room, the cleaning of everything else would be the responsibility of the association. And that's why there was such a big price difference between the two. So in the letter, there was a few items that I just wanted to clarify. So the arena rental with the cleaning package is $4,191. However, St. Charles Minor Hockey is one of the qualified organizations, so they receive the 10%. So their actual rental rate is going to be $3,771.90. In the email that they said, they had quoted the full rate plus HST, and when they were comparing it to neighboring municipalities, they were quoting it without HST, so it did look like there was a big difference. They were quoting the Marks-Day-Warren as our neighboring municipality. I have pulled the bylaw for French River to see what their hockey weekend is, and as you can see, we are very competitive. So our rate is $3,771.90. That's with the 10% discount. Marks-Day-Warren is $3,500 and French River is $5,000. So we're very competitive in there. And again, when we originally made this change to it, we had used the actuals for labor that it cost. So as you can see, we also have labor. I've broken it down to last year's tournament, which they had cleaning, and this year's tournament, which they didn't have cleaning. However, we did staff it for cleaning. We did have a summer student that was at no cost. They were volunteering their hours. So just a few things to note as per the report. The two members, the extra members of the staff are not full-time unionized employees, so they do have a discounted rate, and they didn't have the associated OMERS and all that kind of extra stuff. So I did put it in there so that if we ever did have to employ or use our full-time staff, that you would have that cost. Also, I was able to pull the incremental cost of the electricity for that weekend, because that is a factor directly related to that event. So as you can see, the labor, just the labor cost and the electricity is $3,122.05. And we're charging $3,771.90. So we're not really making any money, and again, that's just labor and the incremental of electricity. So that is why we were recommending that we keep the price the same, because we do feel like we priced it fairly for what the work that needs to be done. I know that they had mentioned issues with the cleaning and the past one, and that's operations. And I know that the director of operations talked about why we feel that we shouldn't be offering the cleaning package, or without the cleaning package, because of the struggles that we have this time and just the safety of our employees.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Okay, so on the operational side of the arena, during significant events, which I would consider anything more than 3 games back to back, I feel that it is a safety issue, not only safety, but for make sure that the venue is properly maintained and that we're representing our community, that we do have the 2 staff on. So when they're doing flooding or removing the ramps or removing the nets, and even for cleaning, I realized that there was a package that was created, but even just for the operation cleaning aside, that we should have 2 staff on site to ensure that there is safety and emergency response if required.
Okay. Any questions or comments? So essentially, the price comparison is that Marks Day 3,500, we're at 3,007 change, and 5,000 for French River. Okay.
It's, yeah, as you're bringing it up, it's pretty comparable. The only problem that I have that they're not mentioning, because this was, I think, this letter was sent prior, was we're not mentioning the issues that occurred during that weekend. I was there and there was a lot of water problems, and I feel that I've seen it with my own eyes. Some of the staff from the minor hockey were dealing with issues that they shouldn't have, so I think maybe a discount should be happening in that sense. Looking at everything, I think it's compatible, but being that if this can be rectified and we're gonna rent this for a weekend and they're doing stuff that they're not really supposed to, like if we're gonna rent something, it should be properly maintained and they shouldn't have to deal with those issues that they dealt with that weekend. So if I would be someone renting and that I'd be receiving all these issues, I would want a deduction in the price, because I don't think it's right that they had enough to think about and to deal with than to, you know, take buckets and pour them down the toilet. I've seen it. So I honestly think they should get a deduction in that sense. The pricing itself with everything, I think it's fine, but
Okay. On that weekend, were they paying the full with the maintenance, or were they just paying the without maintenance?
They chose the without cleaning package, for this year, because I guess they did not feel that our cleaning package was adequate last year. They did, as per their email that they referenced in the letter, so, in the letter from 2024, they felt that the cleaning staff that we provided were not adequate, so they went with the out cleaning package this year.
So, and without cleaning packages meant that they take care of any problems with the toilet?
No,
There's no
water.
they were to clean,
There's no
they were to
water.
clean the toilet, so our facility manager, so we were to clean the entryway so that no slipping and falling. We were to take care of the ice, and if there was any issues with the facility, we'd be taking care of it. So if a toilet got plugged, we would fix it.
Okay.
We wouldn't be cleaning the toilets at the end, that's part of the cleaning package. However, from what I've heard, the issues with the water created a lot of issues with the toilet, which was a constant issue, so you constantly had one person dealing with facility issues. If
Okay.
water was not a factor, you would probably be okay, but again,
I had agreement to, maybe I didn't explain myself, even like for showers and stuff, like there's lots of players that could not take a shower because there was no water. So that creates, like, people are complaining, right? I was there, I heard a lot of complaints and stuff. So if we are going to rent it, we need to make sure that the facility is properly working, and I know it's been an issue, it's not something new, but.
All right, no, I just wanted,
Sorry, just clarification, it was a new issue, it was a blown pipe in the well.
Well, the well is not producing the amount of water that is required to keep up to the demands of all of the toilets, all of the showers, and filling the Zamboni up.
But wasn't it
So,
a pipe that
There
burst?
was, in the well, the foot valve needed to be replaced. And there was also a crack further up in the pipe, which was rectified, but we still had water issues the following weekend.
It's been an ongoing.
And
No,
referencing back to that tournament, I believe that the water pressure went down on the first evening. So there might have been 5-6 games, and then the water pressure went down and it did not rebuild back up on the Saturday or the Sunday, so there was a significant lack of water for, I know that there was no showers, that there was buckets being put underneath, taps in just hopes that they could fill it up to flush a toilet and to get that going.
okay, thank you very much. Anything to
No.
add? No? Okay. Councilor Lopez.
Well, I know that we reviewed and revised early spring, all of the fees, and I agree totally with the fees. And I don't think the arena should be operated at any tournament saying that, the organization is gonna clean up after, because the arena, there's a lot of issues that could go wrong. So I think that cleaning package should be something,
Necessary.
it should be a mandatory, because you're dealing with, like you say, toilets and pipes and stuff like that, and, if the workers, if the two municipal workers were there, then these, issues, you know, I'm sure that they were trying to fix them, but, yeah, I just think that no tournament should, the package for cleaning should be included, especially with the arena.
Okay.
And I mean, the price of $37.71, I think that that's reasonable. And they knew the price going into it, so we're not gonna change it now.
Okay. Councilor Putzi.
So I got to experience some of those issues firsthand that weekend. But in speaking to this, you know, we set the fees to be fair with the labor. We 100% looked at what the labor costs were, to try to set that as fairly as possible. I'm trying to think back at how much we took into consideration in neighboring municipalities. I know we had quite a bit of a price hike on a few things that year, so I know that was a big jump. The difference between, I know you gave a comparison on the table for St. Charles versus Mark St. Warren versus French River. The one that also is, you know, on there is that Mark St. Warren, I don't know if, I don't remember if French River did, but I know Mark St. Warren, they have a minor hockey rate, which is more than the average 10%. And I believe French River has one for, is it their hockey tournament or their ball tournament? They have a couple different rates, right? For a couple of different events.
It's open to their.
Oh yeah, it's in the fees by law. Yeah, it's in their fees.
It's $5,000 for a hockey tournament in French River.
And then the HLU is another one, right?
Yeah, that's for baseball.
The ball tournament. Yeah. So obviously there are slightly larger events in French River. They have, I think they had like 36 teams or something this year, so it's quite quite larger. But I don't know, the yeah, adjusting the fees, you know, we gotta try to keep it fair across the board, but I don't know, they get a 10% discount. So in Mark St. Warren, if minor hockey wants to have a tournament, it's $22.33 or whatever it is. In French River, it's $5,000, but I don't know if it's operated by minor hockey in French River. I don't know. Would you possibly know if it's operated by minor hockey in French River?
I'm not sure.
No. Okay. Yeah. So without knowing that, it's hard to tell if it's actually like a minor hockey rate or if it's just an association rate. So I don't know. So I don't know, the rate of $37.71, obviously it's similar to what Mark St. Warren's regular rate is, but it's still a slightly higher cost. So I don't know. At the end of the day, what they were doing in previous years for volunteer having soccer and providing baseball for the municipality. And last year it kind of went away because of lack of volunteers, but this is directly helping numerous kids in providing a more affordable sports, right? So whether we're talking a little bit here and there, I don't think the municipality, St. Charles, we don't provide any kind of donation to the tournament or the minor hockey themselves, other than no. So I don't know. And other associations also get the $37.71 rate, other qualified organizations. So I don't know. The other qualifying organizations also provide a lot for the municipalities, so it's not to say they don't deserve a special rate as well, but they're not renting a weekend facility. So yeah, I don't know if there's what others have thought on that. There's a lot of issues that need to be rectified with the arena, but that's something that we've known for years, and it's something that's gone on since before COVID that should have been being rectified with touchless valve, touchless sinks and everything like that. So something we definitely need to look at, but that'll be at a later meeting.
Do you agree in dropping the without?
So if we do that for the arena, I don't, because we have that kind of thing for the hall as well, right? What's the fee difference there?
However, from what was stated by Michelle,
Yeah.
it's sort of a safety issue.
It's a 100% a safety, yeah. Would it be a safety issue for the hall as well, is what I'm wondering, because it's for a weekend event, right? Because that's what we're talking about, is for a weekend event. So without versus with, for a weekend event at the hall, would it also be, I mean, for the numerous hours that are it's being used, I guess it could be seen as a safety.
You mean during the ball tournament?
Yeah, during any of the ball tournaments, yeah.
They did themselves during baseball too, didn't they? last year?
Yeah.
So, yeah, baseball, they did go without the cleaning package last year, and the baseball tournament is a little different because even if We did have the cleaning or cleaning package. I don't think we were there supervising the hall.
Oh, okay.
It was always, at night, we'd go in and clean up, in between the nights.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily, in my opinion.
Apples to apples?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
because you're not doing it as they're doing it, it's after the fact.
Okay. Yeah, if we're gonna drop it, then, I mean, at that point, I'd almost wanna, look at having a second fee or different fee reduction, I don't know.
Okay. Councilor Lachance.
Yeah, I'm crunching a couple numbers here, like going through everything, like, they did know going in what we were trying to charge them. We were trying to be fair last time through, looking at neighboring municipalities and everything. This coming back forward again, I think that, one possible answer would be, maintaining the qualifying organization at 10% for rentals and up it to 15 or 20% for weekend events. So like if it's a whole weekend event, rental for the qualifying organization, still just 10% for regular rentals and up it to 15 or 20 for an entire weekend event. I think that's one route for reduction there, but if we're giving that, I would definitely be leaning toward removing the language saying that the rent facilities are help cleaning.
Yeah.
Because I think they go hand in hand. One of the other things I noticed in the email that was sent was with regards to not having access to the entire facility. I think that was referring to separate kitchen rentals and such that we put in before. It said here. Yeah, because it was separated. Yeah, because usually, I think we still have the kitchen upstairs is separate from the rest of the rental, right? And there was complaint about that in this email too, but wait. Unless I'm reading it, but I'm pretty sure I have it here, except who else would have taught it. I gotta find that now.
Oh, at the end of the, what is it, second paragraph? Neighboring.
Full facilities access without extra fees for different areas of the arena. So again, it's, we tried to break it down to kind of save people money for renting if they want to rent the whole thing, but it seems we haven't got any traction the other way saying, oh, we really appreciate that you do that. So I think maybe we just scrap that altogether and say this is all or nothing. This is the price for everything, and just my 2 cents there.
So you're recommending that in the weekend rental?
If for the qualifying organizations that already get 10% to rent every day if they wanted to, when they do a weekend event, we can increase it to 15% or 20%. That'd be like
and give access to the kitchen.
350 for 15%, 700 total for 20% off the price, somewhere right in that neighborhood.
Was ours in there, our fees?
4191, I think it was, for the weekend, just flat out. 4191 is what we charge for weekend rental for the facilities, and that's with cleaning, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you do your 4191 times, so a 20% reduction, whoops, 2.80. So it'd be, so if you did a 20% reduction, would drop that by almost $800. And it's $623 to get 15% reduction. So we get great to that 3,500 that Mark State Warren's getting before their minor hockey reduction, which is, they can afford a loss like that, they can afford it. But just for me, that's the only way I could see making changes, not a set dollar amount, just changing, adding an extra provision in for an increased percentage for the qualifying organization, so it is fair to everyone. And you spoke, Councilor Putzi, you said, well, other organizations aren't quite renting out for the weekend. Well, if they chose to, the wording would be written in there that they're entitled to the same discount or reduction of costs.
So
The curling, they do have a.
They're ending your weekend, or
No, they don't do a weekend, they don't do.
It's
weekend
always
rental.
days.
Okay.
Yeah, Fridays.
Okay, one last turn around the table just to see if we can come to something.
I like Councilor LaChance, it's true what he's saying, if they're gonna
So-
rent, yeah, I like his,
So if it's a full 2-day or offer 15% or a 20%?
so if they're gonna rent, like, they rent from what? When does the minor hockey start? October?
October to
I would
March.
go with 20%.
But that applies, this will apply to every qualified organization.
Anyone that.
No, it-
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a weekend rental.
Exactly, yeah.
And just to add to the cultural organization thing, I think we don't have any kind of formal annual review or something of that. Maybe that's something we should bring forth, annual review of.
Well, essentially, right now, anybody that rents is on that list. So we're saying we're
Yeah, but-
dropping it for everybody
Yeah.
that comes in for.
For a
Well,
weekend rental.
anybody that rents it for more than 2 days. is
For the
on
weekend
list.
rental.
Yeah.
No, not anyone. If I were to rent it for the weekend for a stag and go in the setup and all that stuff, or
You-
wouldn't, I'm not a qualified organization.
No, but I'm saying, at this moment, right now, people that I just want everybody to realize, we're saying, okay, we're dropping it 20% for a weekend rental. That's what we're saying, so. Because everybody that is on the list, so we're just saying we're dropping it 20%.
Just speaking to that, the weekend that St. Charles Minor Hockey hosts the family tournament,
Yeah.
is at a reduction. The following weekend when French River rents our ice, they don't
It
get that,
won't be.
they're not qualified for it, so just to
You are
speak-
correct, there is one.
There's a difference between saying everyone or qualifying organization.
Just to clarify, French River doesn't rent the arena, they pay per hour.
Okay.
Because they don't have the hall, they don't have the dance, so they just pay per hour for how many games they do have. Because they don't,
You're
go
right.
on Sunday, and it's just for a few hours on Friday and it's on Saturday, so it's not a weekend rental.
Okay.
And to say, like, there's not many people that would rent the whole arena, right? Like, when we look at the minor hockey, pretty much.
Pretty much last year, the year before, we had two tournaments, both kind of run by minor hockey. One was at the beginning of the year and one was at the end. Even when minor hockey rents for their tournament, like for the actual kids, they pay per hour. So they don't rent the arena,
Okay.
the whole arena, they just pay per hour for the games that they have for the kids.
And the hourly rate would stay the same.
The 10%.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're saying drop it 20%? Okay.
Yeah.
Council Laptis?
I'm saying 15%, and if we apply this to minor hockey, then like you say, the baseball tournament, when they have their ball tournament, they're gonna get 15%. I think 20 is a little bit too high.
I was just throwing.
No, but I think 20 is a little bit too high, because, I mean, with the cleaning and everything, we're giving money away, like it's costing us for the electricity and the employees to be there, so I'll say 15.
Councilor Patsy?
Just looking at the, what the rates were for the community center again. Cause, and just like Councilor Nash also mentioned about the whole kitchen rental thing, I think for the difference that it makes, I don't know. I think, we were trying to make the whole packages thing simpler, but maybe we bring this later at a committee level to, not overcomplicate it here, but I definitely think there's some improvements, we can make along with, staff suggestions and, public, suggestions, cause, I know there's been a lot of, feedback on the, in the past, you could access it many days before, a multi-day rental and stuff like that, so I think there's some improvements we can do there, but, as far as this goes, I mean, the 15 or 20% is, at the end of the day for a couple events, it doesn't add up to a whole lot, so like the weekend rental for, I'm trying to look, the community center weekend, there's no, premium, okay, at the bottom is the, different events, so premium, yeah, weekend is a rate up top, and then there is the premium mid-event cleaning, basic mid-event Are those, oh, those are add-ons on top of the, okay. So they were just getting the standard, no cleaning,
Yeah.
like not even the basic,
For the $800,
yeah,
we give you the keys on Friday and we don't come back until Monday.
okay,
And then the basic is we come in and we clean up basic things in between. We do a light cleaning, and then if you want the premium, we do the deep clean in between events. So we're coming Friday night, we're coming Saturday night, and we're starting each day fresh. So that's what the package is that council had asked, so that people could judge if you're not having a super heavy event, why pay to have somebody come and wash the floors every night?
yeah.
If you're not doing anything, so that was the concept there.
Okay, yeah, I'm just comparing, you know, the 10% or 15% or 20%. It's even from 10 to 20, it's what is it, $80 difference on that one. And then because we're looking at all weekend events, right? We're not just looking at the arena, we're looking at the
Right.
ball as well.
It's up to council right now, this request.
Yeah, right now the
is for
question
arena.
was regarding the arena rentals.
Well, just because it was brought up about the ball tournament, right? We're applying this, it's not just, because at the end of the day, the qualifying organization discount is technically only in the daily row, which has raised questions sometimes. So adding this as a 15 or 20% discount, I think 15 or 20%, I'm okay with that, or, yeah.
Okay, so, and you, Councilor Lachance, we're here. So the recommendation from what I can gather is, to have for a 2-day rental, a full weekend rental, to have a 15% additional, deduction.
I think the problem, like, if you consider it the wording to be a weekend event,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Not just a 2-day rental, if you consider a weekend event, 15% reduction for both qualifying organizations would be the.
okay, so we're all in favor with that? Yeah. Yes,
Okay, for clarification, is this, am I rebating for 2020,
for
the
this,
one that just passed? Or is this going forward? Going forward.
yeah, I'd say but well,
There's only that issue like I brought up,
But
but
that's not what they said.
that's a different
That's not what they
issue.
said.
Yeah,
No, I know.
Request for.
okay, so I think going forward. Okay? All right.
And the both.
And
And any
For
weekend,
both.
yeah, any weekend event. Yeah.
for hockey or.
Yeah, or ball, yeah, yeah.
Or ball.
And we can discuss the kitchen being included later on, I guess, we'll have a committee meeting for
Yeah,
that.
I think that we've
Yeah.
gone far enough for this one.
Okay,
Yes.
so since really no decision is being made that's affecting right now, can we leave it for committee? Cause it sounds like you wanna redo the whole bylaw, so we'll go to committee, because nothing that you're deciding right now is affecting current, cause we're not
You
going
reimburse
back.
or anything, yeah.
So we'll just leave it for committee, I guess?
Sounds like it
Well,
would be a good idea.
yeah.
Well,
We've
it's still
discussed it.
giving them an answer, saying, no, sorry, we're not considering any changes at this point, but going forward in the following years, you'll qualify for 15% discount instead of 10. So you're still doing something.
Okay, we
Right.
can, yeah, we can do that, and then about the packages and stuff like that, we'll.
Yeah, no, the packages we're leaving.
I think,
it.
did we decide that the cleaning was, well, I don't know, was pretty much cutting the cleaning, no cleaning is gonna be.
yeah, yeah, there
It's
has to
cleaning
be-
and that's all, and.
You need the staff there, it's not.
Yeah.
4D.
And the cleaning is included regardless.
Okay.
Okay, next item, 651, report council awarding a contract for maintenance on the Blancanier Dorzec drain. Heard by Madame Tammy.
Okay, so there's some drainage work needs to be done on a couple of drains. We had a request from a resident. There's some farming activity looking to be done on these properties. There has been a lag in getting any of this done, and I would say that it is not municipally related.
It's not municipally what?
Related.
Okay,
Outside factors were contributed to the delay. Anyway, We did eventually get the bid information out and got 4 bids that came back. Obviously, French River Contracting has come back with the lowest bid. I have confirmed with them, considering the bid was submitted at the end of 2023. I did speak with them, asked if they would still be willing to respect that number, and they said so long as the work can be done before May, which is when their busy season starts, they are willing to move forward at this price. So I'm just here before council to get approval to award the contract to them. Once that's done, then I would be sending out letters to all the affected landowners about work that's being done and how much money they're going to be looking at.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
No, I'm good with the recommendation.
Okay. Council
Yeah.
Lapis,
I'm okay with the recommendation.
Council Bate,
I'm okay with the recommendation.
Council Sean?
I'm okay as long as states in our quote that we do schedule this for their slow time and not when we get busy, because then, from understanding the way it's written in their quote, the price will change. So we gotta make sure we book them for their off-season, I guess you would call it.
The intent right now is that by next week, the letters go out to the residents affected drain, and should be being done in April.
All right. So the selected contractor will be French River Contracting. Next item, item 661, report to council draft traffic parking bylaw, prepared by Michelle.
Thank you, Your Worship. So in January 15th, 2025, the first draft of the traffic and parking bylaw was presented to council. Through that meeting, it was confirmed that we were going to move forward with a 30-day consultation period to allow residents to provide feedback and comments. So it was posted on January 23rd, and it closed on February 28th. During that period of time, we received 6 emails, 3 that suggested that the municipality should focus more on the maintenance of roadways in contrast to laws which regulate them. 2 were in support of the bylaw with clarification provided by staff to one of those individuals in regards to parking permitted, which was the Schedule B of the draft. And 1 email that was for clarification on where individuals will park when they currently access island properties. Through the consultation, there was no changes to the draft that were made. So it is now back to council for further review and potential adoption.
Okay. This one's been in the works for a little while, but we're looking at finalizing our parking bylaw. Any comments?
And then for myself, I'm in agreement with that proposed traffic and parking bylaw.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Loftus.
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, Councilor Pate?
Just to touch on the question that was raised about accessing island properties, I'm assuming that some residents on, Victoria Lake Road or in that kind of area, or?
Through your worship, it was
Yes.
actually a Champagne, so.
Oh, okay.
There's individuals, I guess, that currently park along the roadway there to access the properties.
Yeah, and generally they'd be during the summer, I assume, but also during the winter, so, I guess there was concerns about that, cause I know in the winter, there's often people parking side of the road to access, but I guess in reality, the wording is no overnight parking, so they're kinda safe for that, right?
That's not
No?
correct.
No?
So there's no parking permitted, there is areas within the municipality, I do know of one that's on Lake Road, that's Crown property, there's parking lots there.
Okay.
There's a few others that are within the municipality. Again, this is for council to decide whether or not they want to have designated more areas, but we do have substandard width roadways, which make it very difficult for maintenance operations.
Especially plowing in the winter, yeah, yes.
Sorry, can you explain what the plow operator had to do to, you have to back up?
Yeah, so he was going down Northland Road, and he actually had to back down the road because his wing wouldn't make it by the traffic that was parked on the opposite side. And in that area, there is a parking lot, for the individuals, but they did not clear it during the winter, so they are still just parking on the side of the road to access the lake from there.
The parking area per se, it's private property or Crown land?
It's not within the municipal right of way, so I'm not sure if it's Crown or if
Okay.
it's private that allow it.
It's a crown lease to the island property. Often,
Oh, okay.
often those are most often as they go fishing, they're not always island residents, but they could be.
Cause I know, just cause I know last year, we're talking about possibly, either turnaround space or something by, was it Victoria Road going into Victoria? So I don't know if that's also some kind of a hotspot, but, you know, that was possibly more for a turnaround, not necessarily parking, so it could very easily turn into a parking spot. Yeah, so I know that's just something to watch out for, and, you know, going forward with this, I'd assume we, you know, maybe invest in a little bit of signage to maybe, you know, suggest to people not to park here in the winter, cause there will be infractions going forward. So I know right now there's trees, no signs, so maybe, that'll be something we could look at. But yeah, as far as the rest goes, I'm in agreement, it's, you know, good to see this forward, and we'll be able to bring a little bit of enforcement to this, so,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Councilor Deschamps.
Yeah, the only thing that I had to mention is that after we do go, because we're gonna have a lot of changes coming up with the roads, especially in the village area, with where there's shoulders and where there's no shoulders available to park. Just, we're gonna have to revisit make some touches, but I really do like the work that's been put in here, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. So, yes?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, sorry, I just wanted to pipe up one thing. It does take a bit of time before enforcement can act on this, because we do have to register with the MTO to be able to run license plates. So just so everybody knows, it's just, if this does pass shortly, it still takes, could be a couple months before we can go enforce. So just so everybody knows, I know there's a problem right there, we don't see it every day, but I can't go deal with it until we have approvals, so just wanted to put that in.
Okay, now, can I ask, I know that French River have a parking bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but what you just stated about the license, you've got that permission for French River?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, it's correct. So every time that you have to be licensed through your municipality, we'll be applying through SEBS to do it, run for you guys. Even I can't run a plate sitting in my truck. I actually have to go either to this office or to our office in French River, because it has to be ran there. It has to be tracked, why we did it, when the information was destroyed. It's very specific, and we get audited on these things, and you don't ever wanna lose that permission, because
No.
without it, you can't figure out where these people are, right, or who the cars belong to, and you can't put parking tickets on them.
Okay, all right. Yes,
Question, as far as enforcement goes, with the running the plates, so does that mean you're gonna see a vehicle parked somewhere, have to come here, run the plate and go back hoping that it's still there, or are you gonna call that in for somebody here to run?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So
Yeah.
what we do is, say there's, someone parked, if it's very dangerous, we're gonna lay a ticket on it right there. But we have to go back to our office or here, and, for us to get, if they don't pay the fine, we have to be able to recoup that.
Against
So
our license.
when we submit it to the province, right, we have to have the information, that's all.
is there a towing option in there, like if it's like they have the vehicle towed?
Once this, again, it's another portion of this, once this is in place, we'll have to seek out a contractor that will do your area and where they'll be brought to, and they have to have like,
An impound?
they have to have an impound lot, it can't
Yeah.
just be Joe's, whatever, towing on the road, they have to have a proper impound lot where somebody, and it has to be fenced in under certain regulations, so it would most likely be, there's Bob's or whatever, I think,
Yeah.
is the closest to there.
I don't think it's fenced in.
Yeah, so, but again, we would search for a contractor that would meet their criteria, and then go from there. And then we would have to submit, if we are gonna tow a vehicle, we have to submit forms to the OPP and everyone in the MTO, just so someone's gonna be looking for their car, so we have to know. when they called, it was told it didn't happen.
All right, thank you very much for that information. Yes?
Can I, I'm just wondering, like, on Sugarfish Lane, for an example, where the pharmacy is, there's no sign on the left-hand side that there's no parking. You know, like when they're coming out of the door and that, will we be putting up signs on, like, where there's no, did we order signs, or, Michelle?
Okay, so there is money, put in for the 2025 budget for signage
Okay.
to address, a few different items that are in the bylaw. So one was the maximum speed signs,
Yes.
bridge ones, yield stops, and, no parking signs.
Yeah, because it's funny because where the pharmacy is, a lot of people will, they'll park on the left-hand side and they'll run in. And I wish we could put a fence there because it would deter people. People should be using the parking lot and the ramps. You know, like I see a lot of elderlies, somebody pulls over and they're getting out, but there's no lane, there's no proper concrete, they're gonna fall there. So, you know, but there's no sign there, I know that there's no sign there, only sign there that's on that side is a no smoking sign.
Bylaw's
So-
still in work, so
So,
they're working on the bylaw.
yeah, no, but that's good, okay,
Yeah.
but like, I'm just
I
glad that
agree.
we're ordering the signs to make sure that when this rolls out, then we'll make sure that every avenue is covered, so that people will say, okay, you know what, I didn't see the sign, there was no sign, so I wanna make sure that we have the signs.
Okay.
There's no signs on the building, like on that side, I guess, of the building?
On the left, when you're driving, when you go in,
Going on Shadow Fist?
on the left-hand side, there's no
There's no-
sign.
Huh, I thought there was signs on the building there, but it's just no smoking.
And a lot of times it's
Yeah.
like people are using it as a loading zone, so you can't do that, so. So the bylaw will cover it.
So what is the next step for the bylaw? Yes, madam.
So now that it's approved by council, it will be sent to the province for approval. Once we get that back, then it will come back to council to be adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, next item, 662, report to council future loan forecast by Pamela.
Okay,
That's a
so
biggie.
first, I just want to, I'm not asking you to approve this future loan forecast, this is just for you to make your decisions on. Nothing in this is binding, we're not saying we're getting loans, we're not approving this. Is just to give staff a direction. Are we proceeding with tendering out the roads here in the village? And using this as knowledge to make that decision. So that's essentially what I'm looking for, is are we asking staff to go to the next phase? You've had your presentation about what the roads are. You're seeing,
Just a tendering right now that it would just be doing, the front road here, east and Casimir, correct?
that is totally up to council.
But according to your,
According to my thing, I have King and Casimir as this year's project. I've spaced them out every 3 years. We would be doing a section just to, you know, spread it out. If council decides to wanna do the whole shebang at once or doesn't agree, again, this is just to give you guys an idea of, what to expect. So it's just to give staff, are we going ahead with these projects, are we shelving it, because if we are tendering and we want, you know, shovels in the ground, we gotta start doing that, this spring. So, I've kinda done a forecast of our loans, and I've also included some of our bigger purchases that we have coming up, including our loans that we currently have, and, some of them are expiring soon, so that's great. And kind of what it's going to do to the budgetary items, or the budgetary effect on it. So if we go through, I don't know if you wanna go through the spreadsheet, or if the explanation in the report was clear enough. Again, I come from finance, I wrote the report, so it makes sense to me, it might not make sense when other people are reading it, so it's up to council. But it's just to kind of give you guys an idea of, by making these decisions, what it's going to have in the long term. Again, to kind of stop the fluctuation, of the years that we do roads and years that we don't, we could average out the rate increase. So based on this information, again, this could change depending on the price. If we go to tender and it is way out to whack, or this tariff war that we're in, like, who knows how the effect that is gonna have, or if some of the larger items that I have on here, there's additions, like if, you know, God forbid, the excavator who isn't scheduled to be replaced in this, this thing, it needs to be, you know, I know, knock on wood, someone. Tears it down, like, so there's a lot of things that could change. So again, just using this as an idea, if we were to average the increases over the next 10 years, you'd be looking at a 6.59% increase year over year for the next 10 years. So that does factor in the 1.9% that we put in for asset management. However, caveat to that, that 1.59 is core assets only. We're gonna, with phase 3, it will probably increase to include your buildings, your vehicles, your equipment that we'll need to be putting aside. We're also looking at funding strategies. Maybe we can't fully fund our assets. Maybe we fund 50% and every time we purchase something, we'll have to get a loan. So with our asset management plan, our consultant, we're looking at that. That's part of, to see if it is infeasible, because it might not be feasible to be fully funded and we might be expected to have loans forever. The other thing that is on here is we have to be careful of our annual debt repayment limit. So that is the amount of debt that we can cover through our own sources. So they don't want us to get too debt, the province doesn't want us to get too debt heavy where we can't service our own debt. And again, it's on our own source, so even though we do get funding from other sources of revenue, if that were to vanish, they want to make sure that we can be sustainable. So the high end where they kind of come in and, you know, say that you're kind of out of your league is at 25%. So on the spreadsheet, it kind of shows you kind of where we are to make sure that we don't kind of creep into that. And then it allows us for room for emergencies also. If something were to happen, we still have some borrowing power. So I wouldn't want to borrow all of it and then we'd be, you know, tight for the next 10 years and we couldn't borrow anything. And if, you know, the lagoon goes down again, knock on wood, or the sewer system, you know, those are big projects that we would have to get loans for. I just don't want to cap us. So again, it's just here for you guys to use as an aid to make these decisions, because making that decision does have a huge effect on this municipality for the next 10, 15 years. And using this information in your background, in your back of your head when making further decisions going forward too. You'll always have this to be like, oh, it'll be added on top of this. So, anything, does anybody want me to go through the spreadsheet or was it pretty self-explanatory? And again, the average growth is based on new housing, right? So we don't have to raise taxes. We're getting that money for free. Even if we had a 0%, we'd be getting that for free. So that was the average. Our average tax increase I took for the last 5 years and took the average, so that's kind of included in this. And then I put in an inflationary cost of 0.05 because in here the tax increase kind of already has inflation built in, but inflation is kind of all over the place, so I put a little buffer in there of 0.05, so 0.5% in there to kind of, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So I know that's a lot of information, I know that's a lot of data, and I know that it's big decisions that council has to make, but I'll leave it up to you guys to discuss and have any questions.
Okay, so for the moment, what you're looking at, this is all information for us, but the big question is, do we move ahead with King Street East and Casimir?
Correct. I would like you to let staff know, are we going to EXP and say, yes, we're starting the tendering process, or no, we're shelving it?
Okay. So this basically, if, as it's been explained, well, first of all, we'll go, do you have any questions on the report before we look at anything else? Are you good with the report?
I'm good with the report.
Okay, you good with the report?
I thought at one point, we were talking about King and St. Joseph.
But
Because
the
they
same,
said- They said that Casimir, because the XP said they didn't have to do Casimir with King Street. They could do the two roads and then do Casimir later.
So Casimir has to be done with King Street because the storm drain, the ditches would be over 6 feet deep because they have to replace the culverts also on Casimir. So Casimir has to be done with King Street to maintain the wastewater management. Because the pipes on Casimir will have to be either lowered or higher.
and when we say Casimir, that is up to,
And I did speak, right now it's up to the municipal garage, to keep it paved. That's another little, when we go to tender, we can also do change orders. That is probably one, if it comes too high, we can remove the asphalt in front of the municipal garage and stop it right at the fence at the, splash pad. That was a little, I don't know if it will save a lot, but, I spoke to the engineer and he said, it is mandatory Casimir and King be together because of the wastewater. Otherwise, if you don't do it, the pipes may not be,
Alright.
get it so from low to high.
yeah.
And the only reason, when I was discussing with Pam, that, St. Joseph was delayed, it may not be, it was just for the affordability, because one of the, strategy of doing 6.5 is, trying to do a tax stabilization reserve, so we would have to draw from reserves to buffer for the next 10 years, and the sooner you do projects, the more you have to take out from, the reserve to buffer. But by all means, St. Joseph is the priority in maybe 2 years, maybe too long. It was just, that was a funding strategy. But if council is serious, then the next step may be to figure out how much we have to take from reserve to buffer, because the more projects you accelerate, the 6.5 will tend to creep up.
Okay. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, so to that point, so if we do all the projects right now, we don't have enough money in reserve to fund, so if we were to keep that 6.59%, essentially if I come to you in budget and say, I need a 5% increase to do everything, we're still gonna put it at 6.5, that 1.5% goes into reserve. And then the next year, that 1.5 goes into reserve, and then the year that we have a big project, we take it out, and then we fund it back. But if you were to have all your projects here now, you'd have to take all your money out of reserve, which we haven't been putting the money aside, year after year, right? So as you can see, like you have a 9% increase in 1 year. That year, we would still put it at 6.5, and we would take that additional 3% out of that reserve to fund that. And then the next year, you'd be putting that, you know, we're at 1.5, but we'd still charge 5.9. So we would still be putting it in there to kind of compensate for withdrawing 13.71 in year 2, which, and again, the year that we're doing the road work, I have the debenture the year after. So even though we're doing the road work this year, by the time we get a debenture and the full cost, our actual payments and stuff like that will hit the next year.
Okay.
So that's why it's under 2026, even though we potentially are doing road 2025. So that's kind of what he was talking about. If we do all the projects right now, I don't have enough built into the reserve to do the stabilization, so that's why every 3 years we kind of do that. Council can choose to do that. That's totally up to council, but again, I'm not holding anybody to this here, it's just for information for you guys to make the decisions. Once we get the information, we'll then come back and give you concrete, this is what the actual cost is, this is what we're gonna be doing.
And in addition to, you see on the list, we have all the village roads. In talking with Pam, we have to do our level of service review coming up. And it may be a hard decision where council may choose the level of service for minor village roads to be on gravel. And that will change, obviously, that chart and how much money you need in the future. So that is just, that's more an example of asset management where you decide for the future, but to fund it, you may say, well, we can't repave the balance of Notre Dame. It has to be on gravel. Nobody likes it. I remember the days the older of us here will remember the dust in town and the complaints. So that's a bit of the strategy, in there, so once we come to level of service, maybe all the and I'm not saying, but Hector, Chevefis, Notre Dame, Saint Anne, La Pensée may end up being, not hard service. And that is the ultimate purpose of the asset management at the provincial level, is you can only afford what you should only have what you can afford, because everyone goes to the government, I need more money, my roads are in poor condition. So this is the strategy to say, no, you want paved roads, you pay for paved roads, true taxation. And this type of budgeting, long-term, is AMPS. That's truly what AMPS is. And obviously, this is an Excel sheet. Unfortunately, it's so complicated that you need software, because if you were to do additions and second quoting on this Excel sheet, you'd have pages and pages and hours to do. But in a strategy, this is an introduction to level of service. And the only other thing I would add to that is there's a possible, there's a judgment call of should we do Saint Joseph before Casimir and King, and Saint Joseph is a lesser cost. So that might be more an operational question of which road is worse.
But then we lose that grant, right?
Yes, and that was yes, and I had forgotten about the sidewalk grant.
Yeah. Okay, so, do you have any questions on the report, just the report? You
No, not
understand
really, no, I understand the report,
Okay.
the property tax income, over the years gets quite scary looking, so, yeah.
Okay, and you, Councilor Lachance, you understand?
I understand the report.
Okay, so the big question, let's attack that one. Any, Councilor Framboise, do we move ahead?
Well, I think we've been putting off, this for many years, and like I said, it's a small amount, the grant, but it's a bonus amount, so I think we go ahead with option one.
Okay. Councilor Loftus?
Yeah, I think we have to start this year, like guaranteed, so I think if we have to do King and Casimir this year, and then hopefully in a couple of years, because St. Joseph is getting very, very bad. I'm really concerned with that road, and I mean, that's where the kids are. There's a school there, you know, that road is used, quite often, so. But
Okay.
we start, yes, King and Casimir.
Councilor Putzi?
Yeah, I'm in favor of, proceeding with the village roads. I know St. Joseph Street, so so technically, looking at this, it would be getting done, we would be trying 2028, essentially.
Yeah, you don't have to follow this if you guys want it year after year after year. You're,
Just affects, yeah.
you would still be 6.59, but you would be drawing into reserves a lot, cause you'd be then.
Yeah.
So it's up to council, if you guys wanna do all the roads this year, or 3, or space them out every year, it's totally up to you.
So I think we delay the plow truck and then we'll, I think St. Joseph, unfortunately, I don't know, I think St. Joseph is one that really needs to get done. Every year, we're risking tearing up more and more of that road, and we're gonna be causing either damage to, vehicles. I don't know if anybody's ever come to municipality seeking, reparations on their vehicles yet? On that? Well, I'm just saying, it's something that we could see, and I mean, who knows, maybe we'll get damage on, brand new fire apparatuses and stuff like that, right? So I'd really hate to see, damage to any vehicle for that matter, being caused by the roads, or anybody getting hurt for that matter, right? So St. Joseph is one that's in such disrepair that it's falling apart, like.
So, but the question about whether it's,
To move forward.
Casimir, and the big question, do we move forward knowing that the impact that we're going to be having on, our property tax. And whether or not we look at the St. Joseph as the first one, you said that can be
Well-
decided shortly, or do we have to decide this today?
Council can wait a couple of weeks, the sooner we get. My understanding from talking with the engineer is that the project will start this year and be completed in 2026.
Okay,
Again, the choice, and will, like, the treasurer mentioned, it would be adjusted for council to see how much we have to draw from reserve. So you could do one section, the other section, or both together. The engineer always says, the more you have, the better deal you get. So that is also the other question, because if you do $1 million project versus a $4 million project, you might get we brought the paving machine to St. Charles, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
So those are also the consideration.
yeah. But when are we gonna be able to make that decision? That's my question.
I would think that you could tender out and get quotes, if you want to put 3. And then, we have a clause in the tender that we don't necessarily accept it, so if it comes back and you want those 3, and we can't, and then we come back and with the data, you can take off St. Joseph, I would assume, but this is essentially just to say, go forward, we can have those conversations, on what roads, operationally or whatever. It was just to give, unfortunately, the bleak,
Okay.
outcome.
Yeah, I don't know, there's gonna be, whatever we do, there's an impact.
Yes.
But that's the whole, for me, I think it seems fairly positive that it's, the response is, yes, we're moving ahead. Now, the next thing is, because of the time constraint, and like if we're talking about having all 3, like, is it stay at 6.59, or does it go to 6.6, or
No, the math.
heaven forbid it goes more?
The math will be the same, cause it's over a 10-year period we averaged out. It's just will be, instead of, in the first year, if we went to the 6.5 and it's 6, we would have that 5.5% that would go into reserve. However, we would be drawing from reserve right
So the
away.
6.57, F59,
Will stay the same.
okay,
It just will be drawing from reserve earlier than we want, so we won't have those years of putting it away, to bank up, so that when those years that come that we need to draw, it's kind of in there. So it's not stable, like you're pre-borrowing. We do have reserves, but they're meant for other things. When we come in budget, you'll see the things that we have that we're using those reserves for. So we have to just make sure that we don't take too much from that, and then we can't afford, to purchase, the pickup trucks, or the dozers, or the arena equipment, or, wellness center renovations, or whatever is coming up in the near future.
yeah.
That's the only thing that it will, affect.
Okay, so that comes back to, if we're making a decision today, like if we say today, okay, we're doing all 3, what impact is that going to have? You said like trucks and whatnot, but we don't really know what impact. Like, I like the 6.59, I like the fact that the way it's looking personally, and maybe if we knew also, having a tender for all 3 versus 2, maybe after that we could budget it properly.
And then we can also, and then the other option is you can also delay the tertiary roads, the less utilized roads.
Oh, yeah.
And like push those further back, but unfortunately on the fly, it was complicated enough trying to follow when she was putting it together to do the quick change. But would be an option to try to stabilize the account. Obviously, if we take out a reserve quicker, we also have to compensate the reserve with interest that's lost. Or because obviously, if you take out $1 million, you don't get $1 million times 0.2.
Prime minus 2.
But the other roads, the secondary ones, they're way down.
Yeah.
Like, they're way down the list. So even if we do say, okay, we're not gonna be doing it, it's, how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6, 7 years down.
It's still, if you stretch out over 10 years, it might be us at least trying to stabilize it, but 10 years down the road, those roads will look like Saint Joseph, if they don't already.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just have the one last, like, I understand we're really trying to go forward with this, but basically by looking at this chart, by 2036, or 2025, or no, by 2036, our tax increase will be so substantial that our tax rates will have essentially doubled. Because we'll be at the tax levy requirement, or property tax income will be at 6.2 million.
6% times 10 years is the rule, you double. So you invest money at 6%, it's 10 years, you double your money. There's a financial rule there, and you're quite right.
Well, that's our tax levy, right? The two, like right now it's showing, what is that, 2020, or loan amount.
So the bottom number is your tax levy, but in that you have to account for, like, some of that difference between the 3 million and the 6.2 is due to natural growth.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're not increasing taxes for that, so if you were to.
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000,
growth.
yes, essentially, that's not due to taxes.
So you get 5.9.
Correct,
approximately.
so you're still pretty much doubling it in 10 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know, that's huge, right? That's, like we're talking about, smaller homes of property taxes are used to 2,000 to 3,000, they're gonna be increasing to 4,000 to 6,000. Homes with taxes of 5,000, they're gonna be increasing to 10,000. Like, that's in a 10-year span, right? So, I don't know. I'm in agreement with moving forward with possibly some of the village projects, but, it's unfortunate some may have to either, be reassessed whether they go forward, but it's just to have this much of a tax increase, like it's not feasible.
But if you look at the line items, like there's the fire truck, there's the plow trucks, that are also essential items, and the grader also, that's already been purchased.
Yeah.
So the ones that we could be playing around with are the last 3 items, which are the secondary roads.
How much data planning would it be to bring forth the table, not showing those ones on it, just for something to reference?
Yeah.
Like, not that we're saying, not that we'd be saying no to them right away, but it's just, something to look at, right? Because to me, I see that number and that's not something that we can, feasibly move forward with. Like, I know some people pay $7,000 to $8,000 in property tax, and it's, 10 years they can pay 16,000. So that's, like, unless there's a huge boom and population and everything there, that's a crazy jump, so.
So that's also where your levels of service come in, because
Yeah.
then okay, this is our needs.
Yeah.
And then we have our wants, and then can we afford them, or what do we do? And their strategic plan that will be presented hopefully next month there. We'll also have.
Of this month.
Yeah, this month, because you're already in March. We'll have ideas, because obviously we can't bear the tax on residents all the time, so we need to be creative and have other sources of revenue. So I know as much as we want to give everybody a break in user fees are your best way to keep those wants, because if you want them, you have to pay for them. And I know we we're counterproductive in the previous one, kind of reducing fees, but that's another way to keep the things that you want, or unfortunately start charging for things that are extra, that are costing, to kind of keep the tax rate lower, and then the people that are using it are actually paying for it. And it's not just the arena or the community center. I'm gonna be suggesting landfill, because we do have a lot of things coming up for the landfill that we're gonna be increasing costs. So we gotta start paying for it, hopefully through user fees, or look at our rentals. That's one of our areas that we do make money. We do have a net income, profit on those ones, so maybe we should be investing more in that kind of stuff and diversifying so that we're not relying just on property tax. Because as you can see, this is not sustainable.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's, no, you said it, it's not sustainable, it's 100% not, so, yes, we wanna move forward with projects, but we need to be realistic about it, and, you know, I mean, people were upset with the increases that they've seen in recent years. To look at this and look 10 years on the road, it's like, alright, well, start planning the trip out, you know, just be realistic here, you know, so.
But many municipalities are faced with
Yes.
this type of a problem. Councillor Lachance.
Yeah, also just to point out, any, you know, can't rely on grants, but grants aren't in here at all, right? So
Yeah.
if there were another round, if North were to come back again or something of that sense, and you can apply to some of those roads, we would be seeing a savings there, so like, just know that this is like a worst case scenario in the way I'm looking at it, and, if you look back 10 years, I believe your property taxes already did double in the last 10 years. It just, I know it's hard nobody ever wants to look forward at that, right? It's easy to look back and say, this is what I used to pay, but nobody wants to look forward and think, oh, this is what I'm gonna be paying. Kind of depressing, right? But I do believe that we have to go forward with the roads, and in my opinion, St. Joseph is the one to start with. It's the farthest from where it should be, in my opinion. The plow truck is already slotted in there, so I was gonna say we trade off those two roads for that road and that piece of equipment, but again, that would give, even if you put your 6.5% this year, next year you're not, we wouldn't be using the entirety of it, because it would be lower if we didn't do the King Street East and Casimir, so. Again, the other thing is, as mentioned, how much of a break you think we get if they were mobilized and did it all at once, you know, that's, I know it's more in the tendering, but is there any pre-discussions that could be had before that to see like, hey, well, if we're giving you $1.2 million worth of work, estimate ballpark, and then we are X amount of kilometers, so I guess we should say of surfacing and sub-base, is there a kind of discount for additional kilometers, or what kind of cost reduction we can have? Because I know it's not gonna cut it in half, but there will be cost savings once they already have a crew here that's hired for working here. The equipment will be mobilized, they'll have their office or lunch or water, whatever, everything will be set up and good to go. So it just, we do have to do something with the roads. It just, it always feels like you need more information, but the more we ask and the longer it takes, the more expensive it's gonna get, and the worse get shape the rest of the roads are gonna get in also, so.
Yeah, all right, so, council is you have one more statement?
I just have a question possibly for Director of Operations, like, speaking of the roads strictly, like, and, you know, borrowing a grant, you know, ignore the grant for the time being, would there be, like, major issues if we were to, you know, maybe, you know, delay King Street East and Casimir and go with St. Joseph first? Cause I know St. Joseph is like, it's one that, you know, as Councilor Charles mentions, it very much needs repairs, but I don't know if operationally there's more, you know, for the equipment and everything, maintaining the roads and stuff, if there's more danger with King Street East or delaying it further as opposed to St. Joseph. I don't know.
I would say that they have their own potential liabilities.
Okay.
And St. Joseph is, I feel is in worse condition, but then if you're weighing that, we're losing out on the money that we could have for the sidewalk.
Yeah.
The only differential is that one grant there that we essentially, I don't know, we could try to figure out how to use it, but yes.
So if you want, I can rerun this chart, put St. Joseph, and I can run a few scenarios. Put St. Joseph in with King and Casimir, right away, and then I could switch it. And then a third option would be if we keep those ones, but then get rid of the rest, as Councillor Potier was talking about the three last ones, what that would do, so that you have a few different scenarios, and what the effect will be.
Sorry, the grant for the sidewalks, like, that's not even considered in the cost for the project right here, right? So, like, regardless, this is, again, seeing worst case Ontario, this is what it is, and, there'd be more savings if we could get that grant, but.
I know the further, like the John Street, Hector, the North Dame and St. Anne surface, they're further down the road, but they're still playing a part in the increases seen at the
That's
start, right?
6.5 now.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly, okay, I just wanna confirm that.
Yeah, all
Make sure you're
those-
not doing that work,
Yeah, no,
Okay.
all those roads will be done in that 10-year period,
yeah,
which is where you get that incremental, cause once you
Okay.
have it, you have it for, I think I put them on for 25 years.
yeah,
So for the next 25 years, you would have it, so you wouldn't have that increment, so all the increments would have been done in that 10 years, and that's where you get that 6.5. After that 6.5, or after that 10-year period, barring any other things, then you'd be able to go to hopefully your CPI.
yeah, okay.
And again, the unknown here is if council adopts, another strategy other than 100% funding of future AMPs. So if you opt for 50%, it may also impact the 1.9%. Knowing that we have to increase to it, but we may also, if we do a 50-50, it may also decrease. That's too many EFs in 1 sentence. I do apologize.
Okay, so will we be able to make a decision within the correct time frame? If we look at these other scenarios that are, like, I think the decision has been made, we are moving ahead with something, it's just, and whether or not the quoted price is the actual price is the other unknown. Because as Councilor Deschamps stated, maybe if they say, okay, well, that last road is gonna be 25% less because all the equipment's here.
Mr. Mungshaw's, estimates, projections could be off too, though.
Yeah, could be higher, you mean?
It could be.
Yeah, you see,
Yes.
I'm assuming we're doing it all at once.
And the other thing that I can ask, Mr. Munshaw is, if we tender now, because everyone is tendering or has
Right now,
tendered,
yeah.
we may just delay the start of the project. So it may be that can play a factor where we just start this year and complete more in 2026. So there's potential of delaying the construction or extending the construction that would also delay
Okay.
the onset of the costs.
All right. So,
You mean like roadways 1 year and then the next year, maybe,
No.
because that's a bad idea.
Instead of ripping up the road in June, maybe we rip up the road in August. In winter, it doesn't matter, once it's hopefully frozen and solid, there's no mud, we hope. Because construction, like, you see cities, you revert to gravel and then you
Yeah.
do the underground work. And then they only come in the next year to do the surface portion. Those are the questions that the engineer will have to ask though.
yeah, okay.
Answer, sorry.
All right, so you've got enough to keep you busy, but I just want us to be able to do it within the required timeframe.
So 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, are we good to have that last?
I will, and then if it doesn't work, and if we do, I'll reach back out to council and, we'll see.
Even if we have a special meeting?
Just to discuss this, because obviously it's not like discussion, and it's impacting, almost a generation.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, next. The next one is the mandatory separate, the DSAB, report, fourth quarter, for information. Anybody have a question? No, okay, for information only. Next is a letter to Councillor for Community Gardens, 8.1. 180, is there a discussion? I remember reading it, but who prepared this one? Is it just a letter? Yes, Madame.
Through you, Your Worship, this was submitted to us by the library CEO. I did ask if she would like to come to present to council, and apparently that's a little hard for her, so she asked if we could just put the letter in front of council and have council discuss. I'm not sure if Councilor Loftus has any information she could offer on it, or,
I was actually going to approach her, go and talk to her about this, because I know that it's been brought forth by a few of the, older ladies in the community, how they'd like to have these gardens set up by the school fence, like it would be just like, so I'd like to go and talk to her and find out more information about this. So.
Okay, so you're maybe backing it up to the next meeting?
Well, like, I mean, she's talking about building the raised planters and stuff like that, but, I think,
Like the
she's got a few volunteers on that street that are interested in doing it, so I wanna reach out to say, you know, what exactly are you looking for?
Yeah, because the municipal request that she's making is for us to add it to our watering truck.
Yeah, but,
and the location.
Yeah, and the location.
but if she's got all these planters, the thing is with vegetable gardens, they're not like flowers. So vegetables on the hot days have to be like watered every day, unless you get those systems that self-water. And it just doesn't work, like I've had a few plants that, you know.
All right,
So.
so you're gonna come back to us?
So I
with more detail.
I can talk to her about it, and I can just,
Can we defer this to the next meeting?
yeah, defer it to the next meeting, and I'll talk to her about it.
Just before, like, question, for the question of location, before we get there, like, those planters aren't removed at the end of the season, they wanna keep them there all winter, more than likely, they're not gonna move them at the end of the season. You think they'll move them?
I think if we take into account that they should be removable, it can be built, cause they're talking about building them.
Yeah, well,
They
my
should be
issue I
removable.
see there is with snow removal in the winter time, the plow's gonna just destroy those things. There's not that much of a buffer between the fence and the road in that area, and that's where I just figured if we talked a little bit about location now, and then when you go back, and speak with them, Monica maybe, have other options, or if anyone thinks that's a feasible location, or if we.
What I've seen in other areas, at Noelville, because they had some at our school also, they made them actually on the lawn section of the school, and they were school maintained,
Yeah.
they had a watering line coming in from the school, so it was a school project.
Because even the school right now, if you look at the back of the school, they have planters and they have a greenhouse and everything. So maybe that's something that we can tap into, because they're not being used.
Yeah, so, yeah,
So-
we will defer
Yeah,
till you have a chance to
Yeah.
have a discussion.
I'll talk to.
I think they're missing a couple houses in their map there too.
I had to request the image.
Oh.
Yeah, 'cause
We had
Oh.
a better idea of where it was going,
Okay,
the picture.
can I have a mover and a seconder to go into close?
No.
No? Addendum? We have an
The big
addendum?
one.
Sure.
The one that we weren't like.
It rhymes with fire truck, but it starts with plow.
Oh, okay, I forgot the truck. Do we have to have a mover and a seconder for the addendum?
Yes.
Okay, mover and a seconder for the, Councilor Loftus, Councilor Potteet?
Okay. Moved by Councilor Loftus, seconded by Councilor Patsy, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby approves and adopts the addendum to the March 5, 2025 Committee of the Whole.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Do you have it? Because I'd have to go look for it. Thank you very much. Okay, item 9.1 on the addendum is a resolution to, okay, we did that one. 9.2 is a report for the West Star plow truck prepared by Michelle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Brought to council today for financial approval, an emergency replacement of truck 2. So our truck has been down for 2 weeks now. We had done a few different things to it. The mobile mechanic had changed the DEF pump, DEF injectors, and it wasn't fixed. He says that he's identified it as the one box, which requires the replacement of $25,000 plus. So, the truck would be down for a week and a half if we were to proceed with this, but the truck is also due for replacement this year. In 2024, we had put in $31,000 into this truck, and since December 31st, we have put in another $4,000. So, taking these investments into consideration, I don't think that it's the most cost-effective approach to continue putting money into the truck that we are due to replace. I'm asking council that you identify this as an emergency purchase under the procurement bylaw and allow staff to move forward with the purchase of a new truck.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Just clarification for the, I know we had they had a mechanical, was it this one that cost 22?
So the annual was done in November of this year, and it was close with tax to about $18,000.
Okay. And was it, do you know, like, sorry, can you just clarify what exactly was done then?
So brake chambers, pods, slot adjusters.
Okay, had nothing to do
Like, it was a very long
Okay,
list.
okay.
DEF was not on it,
Okay.
so this stems from emissions.
Okay.
Are you in favor?
I am in favor, got no choice.
I'm in favor.
Councillor Patsy?
Yeah, I'm in favor. I see though there was, you reached out to 2 dealerships, will only one, reach back out, or? Oh, yeah, cause I see you reached out to 2, but it is only mentioned about the one at 382 plus taxes. And that'd be available in 2 weeks. So, I'm assuming going forward, we'll have a couple options of what we wanna do with the 2012, truck, cause, obviously, it's an emissions thing, but whether or not we resell it, as is, or fixed, or, whatever whatever the case may be, because we have a lot of village projects coming up, so I know having trucks like that is always, a good option, right? We use those trucks for hauling during the summer, right? So, yeah, I'm in favor with the agreement with that. I don't know if, we haven't heard anything back from the dealership, but is there a chance we will, or?
When I looked through their website, there was nothing actually sitting on their lot.
Oh, okay.
So I had reached out, but there was no callbacks.
Okay.
Councillor Chance?
Yeah, like I know the last couple of years we put a lot of money into the truck, but, you know, if this repair was done now, we'll get another couple of years out of it. Like, that's the big question, because if it's $25,000, and we're good for a couple more years, because this emissions problem has been a couple of years that we're dealing with already. You remember last year it came and we were like, okay, well, and I remember saying, is this gonna fix our problem if we spend all this money on this or not? And it came back from the mechanical, yeah, we're good, and so we went ahead. So we're here again, and that was before your time, obviously, but, is this it, or are there other underlying issues with this truck that's gonna make it so it's really not worth putting money in? Like, is it rotting out, is it, is the transmission slipping?
Through your worship, I can appreciate your question. So the one box was identified 2 years ago for replacement. It was budgeted for last year. The mechanic did something with the truck that prolonged its life, stating that, okay, we can make it through without doing this. The emissions light went off and it seemed to be fine. So that wasn't done, but there was other work that was done to the truck. As for its life expectancy, 10 years life cycle strategy should be done on these tandems. It has over 200,000 kilometers. We're currently at 13 years, so we've done really good with it. I can't say that if we didn't put the money into it, that it wouldn't last us 2 years longer, but we've already identified that it was due for replacement this year. So the cost of a new truck 2 years from now compared to now, it's just about weighing out those options.
Truck 2 slated for replacement in 2027 and truck 1 in 2026 as per the capital asset molds that we just went through with what it is on here anyways.
I
You fucked
meant plow one and plow two, not not vehicle number.
Oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. The reason I was asking about the condition of the truck is I know that the fire department is like pumper wise, that they're gonna be needing pumper trucks. I didn't know if, sorry, not pumper, tanker. I just didn't know if the condition of the truck itself, chassis, motor, transmission was still good, aside the emissions problem, or not, but.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify something in my report here. The payments don't start in 2026, but we were planning on purchasing it in 2025. But originally we thought we would get this year, and usually trucks aren't readily available usually. So we figured it would be a 8-month process to get a truck. So that's why payments didn't start till 2026. So it was scheduled 2025, just payments aren't until 2026. But now that's gonna be adjusted, because if we're getting it now, we're gonna be paying for it now.
And, the other thing Councilor Putz already touched on, if you reached out to two manufacturers or two lots, are there other ones in the area that we could reach out to?
Potentially. So this came to my attention at 8 o'clock yesterday morning. So the amount of time that between me putting in a report and reaching out to people, and it was the first potential person that provided me with a quote and specifications that met what we would be looking for. That's what you see.
Okay. I think James would be in favor of trading that for the F-350 or something. F-250. Alright, yeah, no, if it's no good, I guess we'll cross that bridge when it comes time for resale.
Okay, so we're all in agreement then to proceed with the purchase of the vehicle, and hopefully we're gonna look at the sale of the other one at a later date. Oh, we have a resolution? Can I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution? Councilor Loftus, Councilor Lachance?
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Lachance. Be it resolved that council for the corporation of the municipality of St. Charles hereby approves the emergency replacement of truck number 2, being the Western Star plow truck with an upset limit of $435,000.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a move in the seconder to adjourn the, no, why not?
No, closing the addendum.
The
You have to
addendum.
adjourn the addendum.
Councilor Loftus, Councilor Patek?
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Pelletier. Be it resolved that council for the corporation of the municipality of St. Charles hereby adjourns the addendum and returns to the March 5, 2025 committee of the whole.
All those in favor? Carried. Now, can I have a mover and a seconder to go into close? Councilor Poitier, Councilor Lachance.
Moved by Councilor Pelletier and seconded by Councilor Lachance. Be it resolved that council for the corporation of the municipality of St. Charles hereby opens a closed session at 8:13 p.m. to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, as authorized under section 239, bracket 2, bracket B of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended. Topic 1, complaint, bylaw response to letters.
All those in favor? Carried.
You know how much a stamp is?
$1.
My brother does the same thing.
Hey, can we make a motion?
Are we up?
We're up.
Okay. Okay, we're good? Can I move it a seconder to reconvene? Okay, Councilor Pelletier, Councilor Loftus.
Moved by Councilor Pelletier and seconded by Councilor Loftus, be it resolved that having dealt with all matters pertaining to the closed session, we hereby reconvene to the committee of the whole meeting.
All those in favor?
My time. At
Sorry.
8:53 PM.
All those in favor? Carried. During the closed meeting, council was informed of SEB's progress. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adjourn? Councilor Lachance and Loftus. Councilor Loftus.
Moved by Councilor Lachance and seconded by Councilor Loftus, be it resolved that the committee of the whole meeting of March 5, 2025 be adjourned at 8:54 PM.
All those in favor? Carried.